You see a lot of poor people are making like the biggest investment of their lives and the product they're getting is garbage.
Integral Built is a proudly South Australian-owned construction company founded by two mates, Rushad and Shannon, united by a shared passion for building and a commitment to quality, integrity, and excellence.
We don't really work for the average Joe off the street. We like to work with select quality clients.
Their journey, however, was far from straightforward.
In the early days, they were driven by the wrong priorities.
We were just pushing for the money, which is never the way to go about business ever for everyone listening.
A mistake that almost cost them everything.
And that resulted in every employee exiting. Losing them was tough.
That defining moment became the catalyst for transformation.
Caught up with you, essentially restructured the whole company. When we started with you, no one really even knew who we were. Now we're our go-to cladding contractors for quality.
It's normally pretty hard to start a business just even by yourself. But to have two people who have 50% ownership in a company together, the most fucking insane thing ever. How do you guys make decisions with a 50-50 split? So what prompted you guys to do the most insane shit ever in a business, which is start a business together as mates? Were you guys drinking when you did that?
Well, to be honest, when we actually first started the business, I only met Rushad a couple of times. So we worked together at another company, and then we were doing like cash jobs, and then we were talking, and we had like, that was something that we had in common. And then I was pretty much saying to him, you know, I want to start my own business one day, and he was like saying the same thing. And then I seen this ad on Seek, and it was like earn $5,000 to $8,000 a month or, you know, a week. And I went for this job, had no idea what it was. And it was just putting in like roof access. So I gave Rushad a call and said, are you keen to do this? And we'll just focus on the money. And we went, yep. And we went about it pretty much.
And there it started. How long have you
that's
guys
how it
been in
started.
business together now?
5 years, what is it? Nearly 5.5 years. Yeah.
How have you negotiated that? Because it's normally pretty hard to start a business just even by yourself. But to have two people who have 50% ownership in a company together, and so there's like a 50-50 split in decisions, which is, for most businesses, the most fucking insane thing ever. You know, I was on the phone about 2 or 3 weeks ago to 3 people who are all family members who all started the business, and they all had 33%, 33 and a third each. And it was so almost impossible for them to make good decisions for growth because one person thought one way, another person thought a different way. And so it just took them forever to make decisions. How do you guys make decisions with a 50-50 split? And, you know, how do you agree upon things?
Just identifying our strengths early and different skills that we brought. That helped, knowing that from the start. We didn't really step on each other's feet. We were trying to do the same things. And I feel like that's kind of set us up to be able to go 5 years in business together.
How do you find roles and responsibilities and things like that with that 50-50 ownership?
As in, like, who's responsible for what?
Yeah, how did you come up with that split, or do you just sort of like figure it out on the day?
Well, just going back on like what skills we bring to the company. Like I can be more of an integrator. I can sit in front of a computer and not go crazy. Shannon definitely.
Yeah, that ain't me.
Yeah.
So it was just clear things like that. We just know each other, you know, on a personal level now, that we can go, all right, I'm probably going to be better than this. You're probably going to be better than that. Let's just go our separate ways.
So it was really understanding your strengths and weaknesses. How were you able to confront that? Because you'll see so many small business owners, and we were talking about this before, right? Like when new members come into Odyssey and they're almost like so fucking green. And then you look back at your journey and you go, shit, I started there as well. But how did you guys develop that self-awareness? Because so many small business owners don't have it. Like they'll complain about the economy and the government and taxes and how everything's fucked, and they push everything outside of themselves. How did you guys create that self-awareness to say, you know what, I'm just shit at this thing, or I'm not good at that, someone else needs to do it?
Honestly, just going out and doing it, taking the risk, figuring it out later.
So trial and error to figure out what you shoot at.
On the job training.
I think like once you learn like what your values are, we don't have like completely the same values, but we have a couple that are the same. That's sort of where those things just veer off and go about, I guess.
When you say values, what do you mean by that? Because like for the listeners, Some of them have heard my stuff. Some of them, this could be the first time that they've come across it. What do values mean for you guys, both in business and personally?
Well, for me, I think like personal values can reflect straight into business. So some of the things that, I don't have a family compared to Shannon. So Shannon's, probably one of his values is family. That just reflects straight into the business as well. So when I know after, 5 o'clock, he's going to be with the wife and kids, whereas I can pivot and push later into the night, and we just like work on those strengths and weaknesses. So yeah, I think like those sorts of values in life play into business so well.
What do you mean by values though? Because I know you guys have done Thrive Time and you've been part of Odyssey now for 2 years, 3 years, something like that. Values are obviously super important. I talk about them all the time, but for those who are listening for the first time, they hear values and they hear like kindness and compassion and shit like that. What do values mean to you, and what's your understanding of them? I'm putting you guys on the spot now.
I believe that they are 100% your driver and sort of what you're meant to be doing in life. Like before I met you, we were pretty much doing the original work that we were doing, and we were making good money, but definitely wasn't happy, and I've got like a young family at home, making all the cash, and you think, oh yeah, those two things together should be great. But then like my highest value, I believe, is growth, and then my second highest value is creativity. And then what I was doing before, and what we were doing before, that wasn't in any part of it.
In business or
in business, yes.
Yep. So you weren't leveraging your personal values within the business side of things?
No, not at all.
Okay, and then what impact was that having, because you mentioned about your family and everything like that, what impact was that having for your family and how you were operating as a person?
I believe I was, just coming home stressed, not knowing really why at the time. And then, my wife obviously has to hear about it, and, you're not probably being the best version of yourself for your children. So,
I'm just interested to know more from the perspective of some of the people who are listening in. Some are part of the community, some aren't, but there's like this, a lot of business programs and stuff, they'll teach this idea of values, and then you come up with a whole bunch of like wanky bullshit, you chuck it on the wall, no one follows it. And then most people have an idea of what they think their values are, but they're actually emotions that they're chasing, not actual actual things that drive their behavior. So my question was around, how do you define values now, both personally and in business? It's a test, brother.
I guess it's like ties back to in personally, like your purpose in life. What are like your key, drivers to get you out of bed in the morning? And then in business, they just reflect that. Obviously, as a business owner, like there's no such really thing as work and life. It's just all intertwined. So I feel company values typically reflect the director's personal values as well. I've spoken to a few people about the company values, and they're like, that's literally just you or your values, like, you know what I mean? So you kind of like, and I guess we're similar in that place where our company values are both things that we really prioritize.
Yep.
And, want to be reflected in our business.
How important was it for you guys to get clear on it? Like, was that a game changer for you when you got clear on your personal values and then the company's values in order to get performance out of the team and in order to understand how you best operate in the business?
Yeah, mate. So like Shannon said that, we started the company doing this roof safety stuff, and we knew that's not what we really wanted to be doing, but, the key driver was money then. So look, we were just pushing it for the money, and we were just doing it for money, which is never the way to go about business ever. For everyone listening, that is not the key driver for a good business. Essentially we just did it for a while, trial and error, and then really got clear with our values, caught up with you, workshopped them, over about a month or so, and then essentially restructured the whole company to suit our values, our vision, and our new mission of the company. And that resulted in every employee exiting, rehiring everyone. And here we are now focusing solely on our core service, which is external cladding. So
Going through that, right? So you lost a whole bunch of staff. How hard was it to go through that knowing that you had a bunch of people who weren't aligned? And now when you're hiring, how important do you believe alignment is with where you're going versus the money?
Huge. Yeah, huge. Losing them was tough. It all happened. Well, it wasn't like quitting, firing, letting go. It was just like, boys, this is our vision. This is our values. You know, do you align with them? Where do you want to be? You know, the door's open. We're not forcing you to stay somewhere and do something you don't want to do. Some took it on board. Some found other work. And we were just, you know, it was all respectful stuff. And then I guess after that, when we were hiring, everyone now is hired on those principles. Yeah, they're a big part of the company.
Awesome. When you think about standards now in your operating system of the business, how important is standards? Because, like, I remember, I think we first sat down, it was at Sportivo Cafe at West Lakes, if I remember right? And normally when small businesses come to me, there's like all this chaos, there's all this stress, and the driver is money, right? Because money's their like idea of freedom. If we just make heaps of cash, then eventually like I can just do what I want. And I ask most people like, what do you want? And they're like, well, I don't really know, but I just know that I know all the shit that I don't want. I don't want to be stressed out, burnt out, frustrated, trapped in the business. But it's all like their psychology that's driving them feeling trapped and burnt out and shit. When you think now about your business, it seems like you're more driven by standards. What do standards mean to you now as business owners versus just chasing money?
Oh, everything. I think standards reflect who you work for, who you hire, the work you deliver, you know, the projects we're chasing. It all comes back to standards. And one of our core values is high standard. So yeah, it's a big part of what we do. You know,
how do you have that conversation with staff when they're dropping their standards? What does that look like? Who does it? Which one of you has the conversation?
Definitely both.
Yeah, it's probably a 50-50.
Yeah.
But we pretty much just take like the value, show the lads the values and say this is what the company is bringing to the client and this is what we have to upkeep. And then, yeah, we pretty much just make sure that they are following them and moving along, yeah.
So what happens when it drops? What does the conversation start like? You know, like someone's done a shit job or they've left crap on the work site or, you know, they've done something stupid. What do you, like, how do you deal with that? Do you deal with it straight away or like how, is it like come into the office or do you go out to a site?
It's, well, probably pulled up straight away. Sometimes we just get notified at the end of the day or a week later. Like sometimes Shannon hears about it, I don't hear about it. But it's addressed straight away, usually at the end of the day. Typically, we let them see out at the end of the day, address it then. You know, we catch up with the whole team once a month, so it gets addressed then. Depends how severe it is. It can be, you know, a phone call straight away. But we like to stay on top of it and just like a broken record, just pushing it.
Pushing the values and the standards.
Values, standards, reflect the, you know, the vision, the mission of the company, just letting them know because, you know, these younger generation like to forget stuff. You know, we tell them, you know, Wednesday last week, it's Monday next week, same shit's happening again. You're just like, mate, we spoke. You know, so just constant reminding.
Yep.
But yeah, it's both of us, you know. Shannon sees the boys a lot more because I'm purely based in an office. Shannon gets out on site and, you know, runs the project. So he's seen the boys firsthand. So he can pull it up pretty early.
Yep.
But we like to be on top of it.
Yeah.
Have to, man. Otherwise it just sets the pace for everyone, you know what I mean? If an apprentice is lacking or a leading hand's lacking, everyone's seen it. So you got to do it then and there.
What do you think is the biggest thing facing your industry at the moment? Like, what are some of the key challenges that you guys are having to face?
I see it in a front end that builders want contractors for the cheapest price, suppliers want material for the highest dollar, and employees want the highest wages. So it's like this cycle of just getting pulled and like sucked from everywhere. And I don't know how it ends. It's pretty interesting. A lot of people are talking about it. But I think that's the biggest challenge. I think we need to just go quality over quantity for a bit, just relax, settle, and just, you know, get things going again. Right now, I think the government's just pushing this growth and got all these big targets they want to hit, which is good, but they don't see what's happening on like a ground level. Like there's only so much, you know, you can juice an orange before it's, you know, empty. So yeah.
It's pretty crazy because I see this happening a lot where people chase money, right? So something that I see happen quite a lot is that employees come in and they chase money, but they chase money because to them, money equals some form of happiness in the future because they're fucking miserable in the work and the decisions that they make day to day. And then they go and work in a business and the business owner's chasing cash because they're fucking miserable and they don't really want to deal with staff and all the challenges and all the problems. And they think that money's going to buy them some form of happiness in the future. Then you've got the government, and the government is using money to buy some form of fucking, I don't know whether it's happiness or votes or whatever. And so they're making stupid decisions. And it's almost like shit's gotten really unsettled over the last, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, especially like the quality of work in most things you look at. Like I was just walking down Semaphore the other day, right? And I'm just walking down the back street. And you have a look at the old houses, right, that are like 100, 120 years old. And you look at them, I just look at them and I'm like, man, they're fucking wicked. Like just the work that they do, the workmanship, the quality, and it still looks beautiful. Whereas like a lot of the shit these days, like we're just pumping out shit that's like a fucking shoebox just so that someone can say that they own a house that's probably going to fall apart in the next 5 years. They're buying furniture from fucking IKEA that's going to break apart in 6 months and they're going to have to rebuy. You know, like everything's almost like this just disposable shit why people are trying to buy something with money to try and find happiness. How do you as business owners, because you mentioned the quality over quantity, how do you, Alfie's just coming in and say, hi, hey mate, what's going on? For those of you who are listening, the dogs just come in. What do you have to say, Alfie? How do you deal with the quality over quantity and how do you make that decision when everything is pushing to quantity over quality?
I think that comes with the clients that you work with. Like we have to match our clients that are sort of growing as well.
We need to align with the right people in the industry who you know value that as well. But once again, we just need to reinforce it to our staff. But it's hard if everyone's trying to go for the quickest and cheapest option. Quality is very hard to achieve in that, you know, circumstance. So it's just aligning with people that value good quality, being able to, you know, do it at a level where we can still make money, get it done, you know, in their timeline. It's definitely a balancing act because some projects, you know, have a bit of a restriction where you're like, shit, we can't spend time on here doing this. Some of the boys feel a bit pressure from it as well, but it is what it is. Like you said, I don't see it slowing down. It's like this big push at the moment in the industry where I don't know if it's been pushed by the government or who, but it's very like cheap, quick. You know, you go to those new housing estates and you see some of the builds there and some of the guys doing it like unlicensed, like, you know, usually like massive crews of guys who have no idea what they're doing, but they're just a hand. Like it's pretty wild.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty wild.
I watch them rock up and they got 10 boxes of nails and 40 boxes of silicon, just silicon shit so it doesn't fall apart.
And
no more gaps.
And we're in the commercial industry, so we're typically doing education, schooling, stuff like that. So we're not really in residential, but you see a lot of it in that space where there's, you know, poor people are making like the biggest investment of their lives and the product they're getting is like garbage. So it's like, you know, these builders are trying to win all this work, offering these low as rates. But at the end of the day, the product at the end is rubbish. But it's kind of the way to go these days because there's such a big push from, you know, the government to pump all this infrastructure and construction and housing out. So it's a bit of a vicious cycle.
Do you think though that maybe potentially could be your market differentiator as well, of that if we do the quality, very few people are going to chase the quality because they want the quantity and they want the quick cash and they want to do it, but then, you know, they're getting fucked on reworks and all of that type of shit. And you just watch them in this vicious cycle where they're always just chasing shit. I was doing a talk last night and I said, the man who chases the chicken always gets away, right? And it's like people who are always chasing cash and the quick wins and the more work and we need more staff. And you watch them, they're always chasing it, but they never get the actual thing that they want, which is like some form of stability or, they don't really get the financial success because they make it, but then they lose it all because a job fucks up or they get sued or, and so they really don't get that far ahead by working 10 times harder, trying to chase something stupid. Do you think that that's something that has separated you in the industry?
100%. Yeah. We see it like firsthand with other contractors who are working on some of our projects and how they're just running their stuff. It's like we're thankful that we value the quality over quantity because we see it firsthand with builders. They're like, can see the complete difference between how we run our company versus how these guys are running their company. So it's like firsthand, we're like the shit we're doing is actually showing, like it's giving good ROI, the stuff we're doing, because our name is getting us repeat work now. We're our go-to cladding contractors for quality, that they're reassured that we're delivering good products. So that's awesome. Yeah.
What made you make that switch? Because it is hard. Like I've had that same, I remember having a conversation with, my good friend and colleague, Dr. John D. Martini, and we're chatting about this. And I said, how is it that you have like 40 people in your events and you've been doing this for like 30 or 40 years? You're one of the smartest people I've ever fucking met. And, like we bounce off each other and he uses some of my frameworks and I teach, a lot of his stuff as well. And I said, how do you not get pissed off that there are people out there who are filling up stadiums and teaching the most basic shit, right? Like the dumb, like just basic motivation shit. And I remember him saying to me, if you want to speak to the masses, you're going to speak to essentially he didn't say the dumbest people, but the truth is like, there's a lot of dumb people, right? So there's going to be way more of them. Or if you're going to speak to highly intelligent people, there's way less of them. So you have to pick who your audience is. And it sort of changed me, I think, forever. Because I would rather work with people that I enjoy working with, who want to fucking grow, who are ambitious and shit like that, than have 400 idiots in my events that are always complaining and bitching and moaning because they want some quick fix. And, it's different. It took me a long, long time to go through that. How did you guys navigate that thought process about the quality over quantity and that we're okay being potentially smaller and growing slower, but without all the fucking bullshit and the carnage? Because I'm assuming you have competitors who have grown 10 times bigger than you way quicker, but you just watch everything start to disintegrate.
Totally. Well, that's exactly right. I guess sitting down with you, a few years ago help align us with actually what we want to do, because we could have just stayed, or we could have just done residential, commercial, picked up all this work, just took on whatever we wanted to do. But we made it very clear we want to work with good people, people that share similar values to us and deliver the projects we want to do. Obviously, that puts a cap on how quickly we can grow and how much work we can do. But at least we know all our projects are going to be, enjoyed by the staff. Me and Shannon enjoy running them. It's just everyone's winning.
Yep.
Because, like you can go out and win as much work as you want, but you're going to be, pleasing the masses. Yeah. You're going to be installing stuff you don't want to do. You're going to be dealing with people you don't want to deal with.
And that standard's going to drop pretty quick if that's what you're trying to do, yeah.
It sounds like you've prioritized the enjoyment of growth and the enjoyment of the company and the enjoyment of the people you work with and the clients over the growth itself, so that then one day you can enjoy it, which is like most businesses that I talk to on the phone who, whether they do any of our programs or not, they'll tend to chase this idea of like, but if I can grow really big, then one day I can be happy. And so they're always like chasing that chicken again that's running away. It never fucking gets there. They never catch it.
Yep.
You've prioritized the thing that you want, which is actually the enjoyment in the work. Do you think that that's made a massive difference to how you live, how you lead, family, everything?
100%. Yeah. For me, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think from being in the community and you meet like a lot of people, delayed gratification is like one of the biggest things that makes people successful.
When you say delayed gratification, I'm interested to know what you mean by that. Because like to me, gratification is the growth and it is the work. Whereas a lot of people, they suffer through the work so that then they can hopefully have some like future fucking gain. And I don't know whether that's intelligent. Like there are a lot of business owners, even highly successful people who are online, and they're like, you have to suffer and you have to grind. But the thing that they actually like is they like the suffering, they like the grind. So they're actually getting pleasure while they're still doing the shit. Some people don't like that though, and they'll avoid it. But some people just love it. Like I love hard work.
Yeah.
I love working my ass off. Like I enjoy it.
100%. I feel like on that, I think a lot of people are chasing the sale or the exit in business, where they see like this end goal where they're going to be doing 8 figures and they've got all this stuff going and whatever, which is good. But if you're not enjoying the process getting there, usually when you do get there, you're either miserable or you want to keep going anyway. So just live in the kind of now thing, enjoy the journey. You know what I mean? I think on Shannon's saying delayed gratification, maybe just people like reaching milestones and pulling cash out or like taking the quick wins. Like that's very appetizing and appealing, but yeah, probably not ideal if you want to go far. Yeah.
Okay. What have been the biggest things that have helped you grow as leaders? Like you've been in the community now for a fair while. You've done Odyssey, you've done Thrive Time. We spent a bit of time together as well. Like we'll hang out outside of like the events and stuff. When we get a chance. I think last time I got a fucking parking fine with you, lads.
The boardroom
Still fucking gives me nightmares. But what have been some of the biggest things that you've seen your growth in, and what have been some of the like ideas and perceptions about business and life that have shifted?
Ooh. Well, I would say 3 years ago I was pretty wild, and I think it would be.
Go on, tell us the stories. This will make this shit interesting.
I was a pretty big, I would say, binge drinker.
Yeah,
for sure. And then creating my vision and the company vision, and then what my values are, I couldn't see really any positives of doing that stuff anymore.
You mean drinking?
Drinking.
Yep.
So that has been like a massive change for me, like moving forward. And then that's been like obviously positive for work and positive for my family, and then they get like the best version of me. So yeah, that's probably been my biggest thing.
Why do you think you drank so much back then?
I think it was just the time, the part I was in my life, and then it sort of just continued on. You thought that was sort of normal, and like it's good to have fun like in your early 20s, but once you get a family and stuff, it's like it's time to move on from that stuff, and focus on what's like really important.
Now that you don't drink as much, do you think that getting home from work and having a couple of beers and everything like that, like there's a lot of business owners that still do that? Do you think that what are your thoughts on that as far as business and business growth goes and leadership and all of that type of stuff?
It may be for some people, but like I definitely can't do it. And I know that it gives you pretty bad brain fog. You can't focus and you make bad decisions like pretty quickly.
Do you think it affects a lot of the guys I get on the phone to when I'm talking to them, like you can tell they're just angry and fucked off and frustrated all the time. Do you think that brain fog and feeling like shit when they wake up in the morning and, do you think that negatively impacts them emotionally?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, for sure.
Do you think you see it on the work site with other crews and even some of your boys, if they come in and they've been sort of, having a bit of beverages on the night before?
Yeah, definitely. We're pretty our boys actually don't really even drink, but you see that guy on site, man. That's been he's been in the trade for 40 years and he knows it all, and he'll have 10 beers a night, and whatever, and he just brings that attitude to.
Is he a concreter?
Yeah, more than likely.
I love
every trade.
Every trade's got a few, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, there's always that one guy hanging for knockoff so he can go drink, but each to their own. They're typically, like you said, it's very rare to see like good, successful companies and their owners are pissheads. Like I'm sure you've dealt with them before in the community and whatnot.
They're the ones I get a phone call when they're about to go broke or
they're going through things.
Just, falling apart.
Deep down, they are probably battling some demons, and that's probably their escape. But if you want to be, the best version of yourself, I don't think alcohol has any place, especially Monday to Friday.
It's so interesting because I think it just becomes so normal and such a habit. Like when someone's like that and they say, I just have a couple of glasses of wine every night when I get home, and I go, okay, do you think you make better or worse decisions with alcohol? Oh, I don't really think it makes that much of a difference. And that they've just been gassing it too much for so long. Like they don't notice any difference. 100%. But when they get off of it, they're like, holy shit. Like it's just a completely different, the world's different.
Correct. Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Yeah. I've never heard someone who said, I got home from work and just like beat up my missus because, I didn't have alcohol in my system, right? Like it's the opposite, or, I made some really fucking bad decisions financially because I didn't drink. It's always the opposite.
Had a beer, then went to the gym. I was keen as.
Yeah. I thought I'd have a 6-pack and just fucking, meditate about how good life is. Yeah, I don't know.
Pay some invoices after a few drinks.
I wouldn't mind people paying a few invoices after a few bevies. Maybe I should do that. Like when I send out the invoice with a 6-pack.
Extra zero.
Yeah,
Why not?
Why not? Although they probably might knock off a few zeros as well. Hit and miss.
Yeah.
We went through and we were speaking about like some of the biggest things that you've learned or the changes. And I think, Shannon, you mentioned yours. Rushad, what's been yours?
Biggest changes was since starting working with you?
Yeah,
or?
like what have been some of the biggest shifts as a business owner and personally?
Just kind of getting clear on some of the decisions I'm making and why I'm making those decisions. Like it probably came back to identifying my personal values. Like a big one for me was saying no to certain people and like changing my circle and kind of like identifying those things. I thought I was, I got a lot of like, you're too good or this and that. And I was just like trying to like translate it and put it into words for ages. And I just really couldn't really do it without upsetting others. Mm-hmm. And then just getting clear on exactly why I was doing that. And it was just like, I value this, like wealth creation and business. You don't value that. So there's an opposite there. And then that's exactly like the reason. So that helped heaps in my personal life, just identifying the reason why I'm saying no to things or why I'm thinking differently to others. And then in business, just helped me become a better leader, I think, and being able to communicate with other people, being young as well, like still a very young company, and all our core clients are established commercial building companies. So being able to communicate clearly with like those people, that was a big shift. Because
how did you get that confidence? Like you are young, you're sitting in meetings with people who are in their 50s and 60s who have been in the commercial game for a long time. Like they know everything, they know everybody. Like how did you navigate that?
Me personally, I just was like, for example, like they deal with contractors all the time. They deal with packages, dollars, everything all the time. The only difference is I'm a younger person they're dealing with, and I'm like, if that's all it is, then who cares? Like, you know what I mean? Why would they treat me any differently? We can still deliver the same work. You still get the similar service. What's the difference? And then that just goes like, fuck it, let's go. Yeah. I think you just put a lot of pressure on yourself going into those situations, but learning, like you coach that nice method, just being able to notice and gel with people before you start talking numbers and going in for the deals. Stuff like that helps heaps. And yeah, just really getting runs on the board. Obviously, you go into some meetings and you think like, what did I just say? Or did that even make sense?
It's probably after this podcast. Yeah.
Exactly right.
What the fuck just happened?
And then, I think you just, with experience, learning from others, got a few, you wouldn't say mentors, but friends running pretty successful companies. So bouncing ideas off them and just growing with it, sitting down with people that have got runs on the board and can teach you a thing or two.
Do you think Odyssey's helped with that as well, being around, like you essentially get put into a room when you're young with a whole bunch of other people who, you get some of the people in the room who are like punching to their first 100 million. And someone like Blake who grew from he started at 14 and, he's getting close to that 100. And then there are all these different types of people in there and I know you mentioned before, it's cool that you're starting to see some of the newbies coming in who are green as shit. And you actually see that you were like them when you started and how far you've grown.
Yep.
How's the community helped helped you to be better business owners? And what have you noticed about your own journey and growth by being around those types of people?
I'll just quickly, I think it was our first Odyssey, we were sat at a table, Shannon, myself, and 3 other older guys, all doing probably 8 figures, maybe 9 figures. And we were like, holy shit, like never been around, business owners pulling those sorts of numbers. And we just got chatting and, talking about our issues. They were talking about theirs. And all the stuff we were experiencing in like year 2, they've experienced before. And that was like a massive, we're all going through the same shit, just different times of our journeys. And just being able to see how they overcome those things was like a massive, weight off the shoulders. Was like, man, look, these guys got through it. And now they're, sitting on the board or just buying yachts. Awesome. Fucking awesome. So it was really good. The community's great for that, man. Like being able to have guys doing, and women doing those sorts of things and then being able to educate and seeing the gaps. It's awesome being a part of something like that. Yeah.
Wicked. What do you think stops most business owners from growth? Like you're in an industry where you're working with a lot of other trades, and so you'll see them. You see the good, the bad, and just the fucking wrong. What do you think stops most of the smaller businesses who are operators, or even some of the bigger ones? What do you think's the thing that just destroys either the business owner themselves, mentally and emotionally, and their life? And then what do you think is sort of the thing that's stopping a lot of them from growth?
Not being clear on actually what they want to do or achieve is a big one. I remember Uberjack talking about when he was DJing, and he said there'd be nothing worse than making music that you don't want to do. So he's like, just put into a corner. And I think that actually happens with a lot of business owners where they'll grow this business and it's essentially just doing something that doesn't align with them. And then they're stuck there and they're miserable as well at the same point.
Yeah, you see that a lot in the construction industry. Guys are just they've scaled, they've got employees, now they're picking up traction and becoming their go-to, companies for builders and stuff. And deep down, I don't even think they really want to be doing what they're doing.
Yep.
Or they're not willing to identify what they really want out of the business. It's just money at the end of the day. I speak to a lot of directors and other business owners, and you can just see those gaps where they're not really passionate about what they're doing. So I think identifying that early helps a lot.
That's wicked.
Yeah.
It is interesting because the people who I've worked with who achieve the most and live the best lives are always those who just enjoy, they get, and I think it's what you said, Shannon, that clarity of what actually drives them instead of what drives the business. Because as you guys know, when you figure out what you're good at, that's your position in the company. I'm great with people. I don't do systems, processes. I can build them out if the company needs it, but it's not my fucking strength. It's actually a weakness and it devalues what I do. So, I'll do I'll do the shit with people, but other than that, I'm not doing anything else.
Yep.
Unless I have to. So yeah, it's just, I think it's really important for anyone who's listening. It makes a massive difference.
Yep.
And I guess the question is for anyone who's listening is why do what you do? Yeah. Do you guys ask that question since probably doing Thrive Time? Is why are we doing this in the first place?
Yeah, you're always putting why on why you're doing it. And I feel that you can do that when you're an apprentice working for someone or running a business. Just constantly ask yourself why. Why did I do it like that? Why am I doing it like this? What's the goal? All those questions, just keep asking it. 100% you have to. Yeah.
What's the biggest challenge that you guys are dealing with right now in your stage of growth?
Staff.
Okay.
Employing staff's been pretty difficult for us.
I believe that's because we do have quite a high standard.
Yeah.
And it's just trying to find those people that want to upkeep that. There's lots of big companies out of there where you can go hide and probably not do as much work as you want to. There's a lot of that going on. So it's just trying to find those people that are trying to keep the quality that we want.
That's interesting you say that, because there is you know, we were lucky enough to jag our latest GM because the company got bought by a large corporate and he didn't want to be in a large corporate where you could hide. He wanted to get to work and get shit done and make an impact and all that stuff. And so he left that environment.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who go the other way where it's like, well, I can get more money. I do less work. I have less responsibility, less accountability, but there's like less growth. Nothing fucking changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one. That is a big one. Finding guys that suit our vision and mission of the company, because we've had, we've been probably bigger and we've had people in the company, but they weren't the right people, and some were hiding, some weren't. And as soon as we identified those sorts of people, straight away gone. So now we've got examples of who we want and who we don't want. So it becomes pretty clear now. But obviously when you start growing, you need it. It's a balancing act. You got to keep it going. So it's like we don't want it to put a strangle on growth too much, but we also want to hire the right people. So I think that's everyone in businesses' challenge
100%.
is just growing and hiring at the same time. It's a constant battle.
I'm working with a tech company at the moment, which I'm a shareholder in, and I'm working with a lot of their senior team. And it was like the guy who's the owner of the company or the founder of the company, he built and scaled a $400 million company in 12 months. Very, very smart guy. And this is a new company that he's starting, and he'll tell you like his number one thing is people, dealing with people and finding high quality people. It's like his full-time job as the CEO is like, just find good people. Like it's literally lunches, dinners, networking events, like who's going to be my next hire? And that's just how he thinks. It's like manage cash, go hire the best people.
Oh, 100%. And I feel like obviously the bigger you get, like 400 million, he's going to be needing to hire multiple people at a time. You know what I mean? It's not just one person every now and then. It's probably 5, 6 at a time. So yeah, it's levels to it. But yeah, there's always going to be that issue, I reckon.
What are you doing that is attracting great staff? What do you do that attracts those standards?
Look, we are on, social media, pushing our point of difference and stuff like that. We are, going to start doing a bit more marketing for it through social platforms. Your job agents like Seek and stuff hasn't worked well in the past, but it's kind of died off a little bit. So I think we're pivoting, going more down the social media way. So you're going to push out a bit more content, just really show the culture, and then obviously the quality of work and the stuff we're delivering, and hopefully that just attracts the right people.
For both of you, what have been the number one takeaway or the number one thing that you've learned in the last 12 months about leadership?
That pretty much like you are your own sort of mirror. Sometimes I'll catch myself and I've been like quite slack at work, and or even just like keeping my van clean, or like just little things like that. And you see like the standards will drop at the same time. So I have to keep my standards high, and then everyone else will pretty much follow. So that's something I've really been working on in like the last 12 months. And that's at home and at work. Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it? Because you've got young kids. The moment you say the word fuck, they start repeating it, right?
Oh yeah.
It's going to be the same. It's almost the same with employees, right? Like the moment they see you doing something, they're just going to repeat it and reflect it. And you're like, fuck. But then you get pissed at them sometimes, but it's actually you. Like they're learning it from you.
Yeah, 100%.
People watch what you do. They don't listen to what you say.
Yeah. And that's definitely something I'm trying to work on.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah, that's good. Me, only recently Adam Hall touched on it, was internalizing stuff versus externalizing it. Just having, more of the smaller, harder conversations than waiting for it to be one big one. That's something the last, especially few months, just dealing with the staff, the growth, and then new clients and tenders and projects, just really getting my voice out there and not being afraid to have a voice as well. That's been a big one, because at the end of the day, like we are a company, like we work for ourselves essentially. We don't have to be a servant to like our clients and stuff. And I felt like not having that voice and not being able to actually like speak up, I'm just going to be on their terms all the time, and we really don't want to be.
Yep.
So now just like having a bit more confidence to get it out, speak about it, push my side, not be afraid of a bit of pushback. It's been awesome. And then that obviously just stems down into the company, into the team, it just evolves. Yeah.
If you both go back to where you first started this journey with what we do at Mojo Human Performance and when we first met at the cafe and things like that, well, what do you think the biggest growth that you've had is? Like, what's the biggest, not learnings, but I guess what's the thing that you've grown the most in?
Probably the industry as a company, or as a personally, probably just becoming an actual leader and a director of a company versus just like co-owners of a small little construction business, whatever you want to call it back then.
Yep.
But yeah, I think establishing our name as a cladding company in the industry has been huge. Like, that's obviously evolved over time, and we've got a good presence now. When we started with you, no one really even knew who we were and what we were doing.
What did you do, or what did you learn that allowed you to have that growth? Because it wasn't because of me. Like, I didn't just rock up and the company grew. You obviously had to learn shit.
Yeah, of course.
So what was that growth for you?
I think it was identifying our vision and mission of what we actually wanted to do as a company, and just going all in on that, just pushing that as hard as we could. And with that came the personal growth, working out our positions in the company, what exactly value we bring, what we're good at, what we're not good at. And once we identified those things, it's just snowballed.
Sick.
Yeah.
Shannon?
What was the question again?
Oh, I can't remember now. It was about growth. So if we go back to when we first met to where you are now, it's been a couple of years. What do you think's been the biggest leverage, or the things that you've grown the most in that has allowed the company to grow the most?
I think I used to be a big one for like always thinking about the future, and I've like definitely learnt how to like live in the now. I remember like we had a conversation when we went out for dinner, and I was saying like I just felt like a bit different.
Do you think it's like more self-awareness of like you're trying to control shit that you can't control in the future versus just like the only shit you can do is now?
Yeah, definitely. It's just me like being very aware of the only things that I can control. And then like, what are my values? What is my mission? And then I'll just follow that. And then my life pretty much revolves around what I want to do. Awesome.
Where can people find you if they want to reach out and send you death threats, or no, but where if anyone is looking for work, or if people want to touch base with you as well, how do they get in contact?
We've got a website. We're on LinkedIn, Instagram, social media. That's probably the best way to go about it.
Awesome. Give your business a plug.
Yeah, Integral Built. You might be able to see it behind this mic. But yeah, that's probably the best way to reach out to us for sure. Like, we only work with builders and developers.
Yep.
We don't really work for, the average Joe off the street. We're predominantly in the commercial game. So yeah, we like to work with select quality clients.
Awesome. Guys, thank you very much. First podcast. What do you think?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Yeah,
one.
amazing. You're all
Shannon.
good. All right. Your arsehole can unclench now. Awesome. Thanks for coming on, guys.
No worries. Thanks,
mate.
mate.
Thank
Cheers.
Most people waste their life, and I just don't want you to be one of them.